When it comes to meeting women, guys usually fall into one of three categories. There's the guy who has no clue how to show romantic interest and gets stuck as just a friend. Then there's the guy who tries but comes across as creepy or uncomfortable. And finally, there's the guy who actually gets it right. Here's the thing. Once you finish watching this, you're going to realize that showing romantic interest isn't nearly as complicated as you think, and you'll start to see exactly why you keep getting shut down. So stick with me, because I'm about to walk you through everything you need to know about creating attraction through conversation and why doing it right makes all the difference. This isn't just some quick tips video. I'm going to break down the entire psychology behind romantic conversation, how to do it properly, and how to make her see you as someone worth pursuing, not just another guy trying too hard. Pay attention, because what I'm sharing takes about 10 minutes to learn, but will completely change how you interact with women forever. So why does this even matter? Let me show you what happens when a conversation has zero romantic energy. A guy asks where she's from. She says Melbourne, Australia. He makes some joke about dangerous animals. She laughs and mentions it's supposed to be a great place to live. He asks why she moved. She explains. And it just goes on like that. See the problem? This whole conversation might as well be happening between two coworkers at a coffee machine. There's nothing there that creates any kind of romantic tension or excitement. It's completely flat. And here's what happens to this guy. Best case scenario, he goes home by himself that night. Worst case, he ends up in that friendship dead zone where nothing ever happens. And honestly, that's way more painful because it just drags on forever, leading nowhere. That's exactly why understanding how to create romantic tension matters so much. It shifts how she thinks about you from just some random person to someone she could actually be intimate with. It signals that you're a man who isn't afraid of his own desires, instead of just another person looking to be her pal. So if this is what separates the guys who succeed from the guys who don't, why do so many men mess it up? Let me show you the biggest mistakes almost everyone makes. The main problem is being way too obvious about everything. Why does this kill your chances? Because it destroys all the mystery, and when there's no mystery, there's no excitement. The unknown is what makes things interesting, but when you're hitting someone over the head with your intentions, that whole vibe disappears. Here's what I mean. She mentioned she likes workout clothes, and some guy immediately says something like, "I bet you look incredible in workout gear." Way too on the nose. So what should it actually look like? Real romantic conversation is way more understated. It works through suggestion rather than just stating everything directly. This keeps things mysterious and interesting, which makes women curious and engaged. Being too direct also kills that sense of discovery.
Here's another thing. It's usually a bad move to compliment women on their physical appearance right away. Not only does it make you seem like you've never been around attractive women before, which is unattractive in itself, but it also eliminates any mystery about what you want. Plus, being too sexually forward too quickly puts women in an uncomfortable position socially. Women have been taught by society to worry about being seen as promiscuous, whether by themselves, their friends, or everyone else. So when you're too direct with someone you just met and make it super clear you want to sleep with her, most women will make up an excuse or just disappear. You can think of this as their defense mechanism kicking in. What you need to do instead is give her a way to rationalize what's happening as something spontaneous. Give her plausible deniability, like saying, "I've got this really cool game set up at my place. We should check it out sometime." You both know what might happen, but this phrasing lets her tell herself she's just going to hang out and see what happens, rather than feeling like she's explicitly agreeing to hook up, which would make her uncomfortable. So here's the takeaway. Stop being so blunt about everything. If you hang out with guy friends, you probably joke around and give each other a hard time. But unless you're into guys, which you're probably not if you're watching this, that banter doesn't have any romantic energy to it. The issue is that tons of guys use that exact same platonic banter style when talking to women they're interested in. To understand the difference between friendly conversation and romantic conversation, think about the difference between giving someone a high five versus holding their hand. One is completely platonic, while the other clearly means something more. Unfortunately, most guys play it safe and avoid taking any risks, so their conversations with women never have any sexual energy or tension whatsoever. All right, So now let me show you how to avoid these mistakes and actually become good at this. We talked about how being too obvious is a major problem. So what's the fix? Be more subtle about it. How? Simple. Take whatever blunt, clumsy thing you were going to say and make it more indirect. Remember that awkward example from before? Let's fix it. She says she loves workout clothes. Instead of that terrible direct response, you say, "Really? Well, as it happens, I'm really into women who are into fitness." See the difference? In both cases, you're showing interest, but the second way is indirect. You're implying attraction without spelling everything out. Suggesting that you like someone or find them attractive is way more exciting for women than just flatly stating, "Let's hook up." By creating intrigue and leaving some things unspoken, you show that you're not the type of guy who's desperate for any attention he can get. On the flip side, being too direct and awkward makes you seem desperate, like you'd go after anyone who showed you the slightest bit of interest. By cleverly wrapping your interest in subtlety, you create excitement through mystery, and you position yourself as a valuable person, someone she should want to pursue. Speaking of positioning yourself as valuable, let's talk about the next technique. When you're dealing with attractive women, or really any women, but especially the good-looking ones, you're going to get tested. Women will test you to see if they can rattle you. It's how they measure your confidence. If you show that you're completely unbothered and stay calm, you pass the test and she becomes more attracted to you. But if you get defensive, insecure, or start trying to justify yourself, you fail and her interest drops. These tests usually show up as sarcastic comments, loaded questions, or unreasonable demands, like, "I bet you say that to every woman," or "How many people have you been with?" or "Buy me a drink." So, how do you pass these tests? The easiest method is to agree and exaggerate. What does that mean? You agree with whatever she said and then blow it up to something ridiculous and over the top. Here's how you handle those tests. She says, "I bet you say that to every woman." You respond, "Yeah, I actually wake up surrounded by women every morning. Is that bad?" She asks, "How many people have you been with?" You say, "Today? Not that many yet." She demands, "Buy me a drink." You reply, "Sure, want my bank card and PIN too?"
Now let's look at a technique I personally really enjoy, acting like you're the one being pursued. Most attractive women know they're the prize. They've got dozens, maybe hundreds of guys approaching them constantly. But here's the thing. You can completely flip this whole dynamic, where guys chase girls. How? By suggesting that she's the one chasing you. That she's just another woman who's hitting on you and trying to get with you. Frame the interaction as if she's pursuing you and you're just innocently dealing with her constant attempts at seduction. How do you pull this off? You reframe her as the pursuer while positioning yourself as the prize by playfully twisting whatever she says or does to make it seem like she's hitting on you, trying to seduce you, and trying to turn you on. Here are some examples. She says she loves workout clothes. You say, "Don't try to make me picture you in workout clothes." She suggests getting another drink. You say, "Oh, I see what's happening here. You're trying to get me drunk so you can take advantage of me." She accidentally stares in your direction while thinking about something. You say, "Are you trying to seduce me?" You mention you live nearby and could grab a drink at your place. You add, "But only if you promise not to try anything." She mentions massages are great. You say, "Are you trying to seduce me by offering free massages?" She says no. You respond, "Good, because it wouldn't work anyway." All right, now let's look at a technique that takes her on an emotional roller coaster and makes her way more interested in you. But before we continue, when you're done with this video, make sure you go back and watch my series on how to attract women. If you only watch this one video and try to use it by itself, you're going to run into a bunch of problems. You need the full series to really understand how women think. This technique is called push-pull conversation. Like the name suggests, it involves a playful mix of drawing her in and then pushing her away, both physically and verbally. Here's an example. You say, "You're too cute for me to handle. Shoo, go away." You're pulling her in emotionally by calling her cute, but at the same time, you're pushing her away. This contradiction creates excitement and keeps her engaged. Here's another one. "You're awesome. You're like my little sister." You're pulling her in with the compliment, but then pushing her away by comparing her to your sister, which is definitely not romantic. This creates playful tension. This back and forth dynamic creates intrigue and excitement, making her more invested in the conversation.
On top of that, this push-pull style demonstrates that you're a high-value person. Why? Imagine you meet an amazing woman who seems perfect, funny, charming, smart, gorgeous. But then imagine she just throws herself at you immediately. No challenge, no effort required. Suddenly, she doesn't seem as high value as you first thought. You might even lose interest. You'd probably think, I thought she was supposed to be this great catch. Why is she making this so easy? Women feel the exact same way. This is why they often lose interest in nice guys who buy them stuff and worship them, but are drawn to guys who seem less available or play hard to get. There's an old quote that goes, "What we get too easily, we value too lightly. It's the difficulty that gives things their worth." This push-pull style shows that you're someone of value who isn't just available to anyone. Moving forward, make playful accusations. A great starting point is to accuse her of trying to seduce you. For example, if she's talking about her apartment in a totally innocent discussion and asking you about installing something or furniture or whatever, ask her, "Are you already trying to get me back to your place? I'm not surprised." Even though it might seem hard to believe, women actually enjoy this kind of teasing. Don't be shocked if later on she actually does try to get you to come over. No joke. Make her realize you know what you're doing with women. Women love men who know how to treat them and be intimate with them. But obviously you can't just walk up and announce, "Hey, I'm great in bed." Instead, you can use sexual implications. For example, if you've invited her over and you just made a cocktail and she says, "Wow, you're good at that," you make eye contact and say, "I'm good at a lot of things." She'll understand the implication and want to know more. Get her to playfully use you. Women often accuse men of using them for sex, so why not flip the script? Next time you do something for her, say, "So you're already using me, huh? I can tell pretty soon you'll be using me for other things too." She'll find this role reversal hilarious. Plus, it's an innocent, funny way of bringing sexuality into the conversation. And that's your complete breakdown of how to create romantic tension through conversation. But before we wrap up, I want you to know I've put together an online course that has a step-by-step formula for making women attracted to you regardless of what you think you're lacking. You'll discover exactly what women are attracted to in a man on a deep psychological level, way beyond surface-level stuff like height, appearance, or money. The link is in the description. Anyway, if you've got any questions, drop them in the comments. This has been The Attraction Code, and take care of yourself.